breaking down all the plays and getting you in the action. We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Marco's Pizza.
Boom! Here we go. That music means it is time for the latest edition of the BCSN Nation podcast. As always, each and every week, powered by Marco's Pizza. It is the spring version, the baseball version this week. I'm Justin Feldkamp alongside Mark Nell. You can watch him on Twitter at @Mark_Nell, Nell 14. Is that 14 for Pete Rose?
Exactly.
He's got the Reds grounds crew gear. He retired from Anthony Wayne last year as the head coach, still works in the Anthony Wayne School District, also picked up a side hustle with us here at BCSN and a side hustle down in Cincinnati in the summer on the grounds crew. You're doing a little bit of everything, and we appreciate you joining us here on the podcast.
It's exciting times. It's high school baseball, and Northwest Ohio is great baseball, and baseball in the state of Ohio is great. So it's exciting to start off a new season here. 21
years as Anthony Wayne's head coach. He was also an assistant at BGSU for 9 years, 37 total years of baseball activity. And this past January, Mark, congratulations. I told you back in January, but congratulations once again here on the podcast. Ohio High School Coaches Association Hall of Fame inductee.
It's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty neat thing, but it's as I've told many people, it's an accumulation of a lot of people. It's not just Mark Nell. It's players, custodians, it's groundskeepers, it's concessions people, it's umpires, it's assistant coaches, it's colleagues, it's many people that I've been blessed to be around.
Well, congratulations once again. I know we have a lot of BCSN Nation baseball followers who know you very well, so we're glad that you can connect with them here on the podcast. Follow us on our BCSN social media handles at BCSN Sports for all of the following: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And as always, each and every Wednesday at 3 o'clock is when we drop a new episode. A reminder, here in the spring sports season, we're going to rotate week to week, softball to baseball, all the way through what we hope is a state tournament trip for one or more of our area teams on both the baseball side and the softball side. So let's jump right into it. On the Northern Lakes League, we are still in the infancy stages, I would say, Mark, for the season. At the beginning of the year, we had a number of teams go on the road, go south to play spring break trips, but many of them, if not all of them, are back now, and we're going to start in each and every one of the leagues and conferences in our area. We'll start with the Northern Lakes League. Why do we do that? That's because the defending state champion Northview Wildcats are in the Northern Lakes League. They are not picked to win, but they do have a number of key components back from that team.
Oh, they do. They're going to be it's a competitive league, and they didn't win the league last year, but they put it together at the right time, made a great tournament run, and boy, that is certainly just great for the Northern Lakes League and Northwest Ohio in general.
Coach Greg Sparko was the head coach of that team. He stepped down. Yep. What a way to go out as a state champion. And then Coach Tullis came in and was promoted from an assistant to a head coach. So maybe in your experience, Mark, what does an assistant coach who's been elevated to a head coach have to do? How does he or she, I guess, win over a group?
Well, with Aaron being there so long, I think it's a pretty easy transition, pretty easy turnover for them, for the kids. They know him. They're comfortable with him. But, then as the head coach, all eyes are on you. So it will be a little bit different for Aaron, the decisions and, and the finger pointing or whatever. Every decision will be more eyeballs on him as the head coach. But the transition period with him, he's been there around 20 years, and so I think it'd be a pretty good transition.
So they're off to a 6-4 start, 2-1 within NLL play. They are not the favorites. The preseason pick was Anthony Wayne, your old stomping grounds, with Coach Ryan Donnelly now in his second year. The Generals went 14-12 overall last year, 8-6 in the NLL. They have the number of seniors back on this team, including Jack Bainfeld, one of the guys that I personally have got to know and interview over the last couple years. He was a wrestler. He was a football player, a key contributor on those squads. And now a key element. I know you've coached him before, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
What does he bring to the table as far as leadership for this general team?
You just stole it from me. Leadership. I mean, that's what this group needed. You could see that. He played for me as a, freshman was their COVID year. We did have the opportunity to coach them in the summer, and then you could see that leadership that he had with that group as a sophomore, and he got some valuable sophomore or playing experience as a sophomore. And to say the other thing is he's a first team all athlete for 3 different sports: football, wrestling, and baseball. That's hard to do.
Yep. Another item that I wanted to touch upon here in the NLL was Coach Dave Hall in Perrysburg. On their trip south, spring break trip, he won his 700th game. And I know you guys have battled back and forth and had somewhat, if I recollect correctly, somewhat even record against each other. But Dave Hall in 700 wins in the state of Ohio, that's a pretty exclusive list.
That is an exclusive list. And, he just is consistent. He teaches fundamentals. His teams are always prepared to play, and 700 wins is just it's amazing. And again, it's similar to a Hall of Fame type thing, which he's in. It's an accumulation of a lot of good players and good assistants and a lot of support staff.
Wanted to touch upon one other team in the NLL, Springfield. Coach Dave Whitmire off to a 5-5 start, 2-1 in league play. They played a bunch of games on the road when they went south for their trip. Played a lot of different teams from, I know one was from Virginia, South Carolina, maybe North Carolina as well. But back here in Northwest Ohio, they've beaten Findlay, they've beaten Delta, beat Southview, beat Perrysburg, and Coach Dave Hall. I know that they made a little bit of strides last year, Coach Dave Whitmire's Springfield Blue Devils, but it looks like they're continuing to take strides in the early portion of 2023.
Yeah, I say they're 2-1 in the league is what I have, and 5-5 overall. And Dave Whitmire knows how to coach, and a lot of these kids have been playing since they were freshmen, so he's excited about it. I think you need to show up to beat Springfield this year. They're going to be competitive in the league, and Dave Whitmire knows how to coach. He's got a lot of experience at the high school level, the college level. He was at BGSU and learned a lot under Danny Schmitz and was at Owens Community College as well. So Dave knows how to prepare a team.
All right, so let's go from the NLL to the track as we continue here on the baseball version of the BCSN Nation podcast. This is episode 32, powered by Marco's Pizza. Justin and Mark with you here. In the track, Clay, Coach Jim Phillips, now in decade since the 10th year for him guiding the Eagles. They have 8 starters back, Mark, and they were the preseason pick based on the coaches' poll to deliver. And I mean, with 8 starters back, when you're talking about 9 starters on a baseball diamond, 8 of 9 is pretty a good start.
Oh, I had a chance to see him play against St. Francis a couple weeks ago, and they're solid, or actually last Friday.
Yep.
And they're deep on the mound. They swing the bats. It's a program with great history and tradition, and he's got it. He has the experience. He has leadership. He has competitiveness. He knows how to coach. They're deep on the mound, and they haven't used their number one pitcher yet this year. He's been out with illness, and I think he's working back, and I think he's getting close to being ready. But they're extremely deep on the mound.
Yeah, and the number of seniors, as I list off some of these: Christian Mays, Jared Horston, Ethan Stagger, Jace Kennedy, Cale Wilkins, Brendan Hazuda. Number of those players, I should say, I remember from football season, a lot of them playing the multi-sports, and I like that. Especially you see that a lot at Clay, and in some cases 2 and 3 sport athletes, but they finished 11-3 in the track just outside, or trying to play consistently once again after having a solid season last year, where you mentioned with Springfield, a number of younger players played considerable amount of innings last year. So I'd say the same thing could be said for Clay with all those returning starters. That means that they are juniors or seniors and played last year as sophomores or juniors.
Well, not only are they were younger players last year, but they won the league.
Right.
So they not only got experience, but they got experience winning, and they've won the league the past 2 years, and they're picked to what you call three-peat, and I think they feel like they can do it. Jimmy knows how to prepare them, and had a chance to see them Friday. They got a great pitching performance. They got Anthony Barnes came in. The runners at first and third. It was a 4-1 ball game. They were winning first and third. St. Francis was 1 out. He struck out 2 guys, and came back to 7th and struck out 3. So he's got a guy that I would think would be a closer as well, and that's a big benefit in high school baseball.
Yeah, and they took down St. Francis, and Bobby Edgo is the first-year coach there. He played for St. Francis during his playing days, and he's been around the program in previous years. But Coach Gherkin stepped down. They promoted Bobby Edgo, and he's from what I've seen, my son has participated in the summer youth camp there, and I think he's very player-oriented. And he also is transitioning from that role as an assistant, like we mentioned with Coach Northview's coach Aaron Tolis, going from assistant to head coach. That can be a challenge, and I know that Bobby Edgo's up for it.
Well, he's been around.
Yeah,
Girk was with Don Cover for years. So then, so it's a tradition is going to continue. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of change there. And again, it's getting used to being a head coach and different responsibilities, and the eyeballs being on you, and the responsibility is, hey, it's you. It's not, you can't push it and hand it off to anybody else. But he'll do a great job, and he's got a nice ball club, and they got a great program. So.
Yep, and Clay and St. Francis near the top of the projections there in the track, along with St. John's. I wanted to touch upon them. Sam Fisher now in his 4th year. That first year was the COVID year where a lot of spring sports were completely wiped out. But with Coach Sam Fisher there, he brings that youth. He is not the oldest coach in our area, not necessarily the youngest either, but I know in talking to him and talking to people around that program during their state tournament run a couple seasons ago, in which he kind of got a rejuvenation with the Titans over there on Airport Highway.
Well, Justin, I'm going to call him young because he played for me. Okay, can we do that? No.
Yeah, that's right.
The one thing I'll say about Sam Fisher is I would want to be in the dugout with him. I liked it when he was in my dugout. He's a fierce competitor. He's calm. He's even keeled, but he likes to get after it. His team's going to play hard, and he's going to have him prepared, and kids are going to like playing for him, and you can already see that. And like I said, I would like to be in his dugout.
The Titans and the Knights and the Eagles will be on your BCSN television screens here in the coming weeks as we approach deeper runs into the regular season and into the eventual postseason. Let's go to the TAC now. Ottawa Hills, you got to start with them. Why? Because Coach Chris Hardman, not necessarily one of those young spring chickens. He's been at it for 43 years. One of the best guys, does some work here at BCSN for us as well. But he shedded the responsibility as head football coach, now fully devoted to the baseball side. And as I mentioned, 43 years, he has pretty much seen it all, gone on deep playoff runs. They had a really solid team last year. And I know in some ways he kind of put some expectations on his own team, and they came up short of those expectations. But with their ability to rejuice and reload, the Green Bears are going to be a team to be reckoned with within the TAC.
Well, he did give up football. I think this is the 3rd time he's given it up.
They reel him back in.
He might go back. Well, first of all, he's told me he's going to coach another 11 years.
He told me that as well, and the reasoning behind that, Mark, is what he told me, and this is because his grandchild is the same age as one of my sons. We got a showdown on Thursday. This Thursday, Pace Center, 6 o'clock. Be there, baby.
Is that on BCSN?
It's not on BCSN. Maybe some summertime programming down the line. But with Coach Hardman, he wants to potentially coach his grandchildren, and that is why he is sticking around. And I tell you what, as long as you have your health, and Coach Hardman, from everything that I've seen, is a picture of health for someone who's been around baseball for 43 years.
Oh, he certainly is. I mean, he's got a youthful body, and he's got a youthful mind, and he's got a ton of energy, and he's just got an outstanding program. And, he graduated 14 players last year, but he has a solid group coming back. And I know when Sebastian Stevens is on the mound as lefty, I had a chance to see him throw against Bedford. And boy, he can sling it. He's a good one, and he feels like when he's on the mound, he has a chance to compete with anybody.
Yeah, he's a junior this year. Last year's numbers as a sophomore, 7-0 on the mound, 1.11 ERA, 56 strikeouts in 38 innings. That's what we call dealing.
He was dealing against Bedford. He struck out 13, and he lost it a little bit in the fifth inning, got it back. He's a competitive kid. He's a lefty. He's got a nice body, and I think we're going to see some big things out of him. And like I said, Coach Hardman thinks that they can compete with anybody. And he'll use a lot of times some of his better pitchers against your Anthony Waynes on the weekends or whoever on the weekends, and throw some of his, 2-3 guys, during league play. So, which I always like playing him because of that, because you knew you were going to see a good arm.
You got that top competition.
Exactly.
AJ George, did you see any of him on the Ottawa Hills side? I know he plays baseball, basketball, football, and is going to Columbia, I believe, as a football scholarship player. But he is one of the most versatile athletes I know on the football field, such a dynamic playmaker, and that can translate to a different sport like baseball.
Oh, absolutely. I think all the skills that you learn in different sports helps with the other sports, whatever that is. I know that when I was coaching, I'd love to go to a basketball game and see every one of my middle infielders playing basketball.
Yeah.
Because what are they working on? They're working on their footwork. I mean, they're competing.
Yeah.
And you can't replace competition either. So to have a 2 or 3 sport athlete like that, that's big, because like I said, you can't replace competition. You can do all the working out, and you need to do that. You need to work out. But, when you're on that free throw line in basketball, and then you got to make that pitch, that competitiveness transfers from every sport.
Yep.
So
8-0 record for Ottawa Hills last year, but the Green Bears have already suffered a loss in league play this year. That was against Toledo Christian. Walk-off fashion, TC won over Ottawa Hills 2-1. A great ball game, obviously 2-1, a pitcher's duel, not a ton of offense. But for Coach Paul LaPlante in his 6th year, he's got a number of guys, including Malachi Baer. TC can be a team. They've already proved it within the TAC that they could take down a top opponent in Ottawa Hills.
And they can. I had them 3 times last year, so I saw Malachi. I also had Malachi in my class. He's from the Anthony Wayne School District. And then I also had Kyle Gebhardt, who I saw pitch 3 times last year. So every time we had them, he was pitching, and he was on the mound against Ottawa Hills. And Kyle's the type of guy that's just about an 80% strike thrower. He's just going to pound the strike zone. He's not going to overpower you. He's got some off-speed pitches, so he's always going to have a chance. He's a pitch to contact. You play a little defense behind him. They got the Duck kid that's catching for him, and which is, you have to have somebody behind the dish. So that's they're going to be pretty competitive, and they beat them.
Yeah, they've already proved it.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue on here on the BCSN Nation podcast. 2 more conferences to talk about before we get to our question of the week and Mark's picks to win each of these conferences and leagues, and we'll put him on the spot and we'll make note of it to see if he's proof positive here come the end of the regular season. Let's talk about the City League with Start. Coach Dan Weiss is there, and City League action. Start was undefeated last year, projected to win again, and I know we go back in time to the beginning stages of your Anthony Wayne tenure when you're talking about Coach Arbinger and how Start was a state power and multiple-time state champion that has dissipated a little bit, but still within 2023 confines, the Spartans still projected to win.
Yeah, a great tradition, obviously. When I moved to this area in 1990, they were a national powerhouse as well. And, we recruited several of their players and Coach Arbinger. They were...
Recruited them at BGSU.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's not start any fires.
No, recruited when I was... Yes, I was the recruiting coordinator at BGSU. Yeah, everybody can look that up. That was legit. Thank you, Justin. Yes. You saved me. But it's just a great tradition in the program. I know in 2005, they were the team to beat still when I was started at Anthony Wayne.
Yep.
In 2005, we beat them, and I think that's what kind of turned our program around, because I'll never forget the day. Our kids in the locker room were talking about, we have to go play Start. And I'm like, how about they have to play us? that type of attitude. And we confidently went in there and we beat them. But let's talk about right now. They've won the City League 9 years in a row, so they're looking for number 10. Yep. I believe right now I have them tomorrow against Bowser.
Okay.
So I'll get a chance to see them. I had a couple times last year. They play hard. They're still a very solid ball club, and I know the City League is not as strong as it used to be. But they're still on top, and I'm excited to see them tomorrow. And I know they've played a very strong schedule. I think they only have one win right now, but they're playing the Perrysburgs, some of your top teams in the area. So, and that'll prepare them for the City League again.
Yeah, and starting Bowser, the preseason picks 1-2. That is the reason why we scheduled that game, to see who can come out on top in that first meeting in league play, and then potentially have them use that to catapult them to further wins and staying at the top of the district standings, or at the top of the league standings there. All right, let's go to the Northern Buckeye Conference. We have Rossford in that conference in our BCSN footprint area, and then expanding out to the rural areas in the greater Toledo 419 area. Rossford is picked, let me get my notes here. Rossford picked third in that league behind Eastwood and Genoa. So it looks a little bit like the basketball coming out of winter season. Eastwood, Genoa, and Rossford up at the top of the standings there. The basketball team on the boys' side, Rossford won it all. But with Eastwood, they are state ranked. They have consistent play. Another one of those schools, Mark, where you got guys who play football, basketball, and then baseball. They have the Boost boys that have gone through that baseball program for a number of years. And we got some Haas guys with your connections with BGSU. You know all about the Haas guys from Eastwood, and they are the preseason pick once again. They will take on all comers. Doesn't matter if they're a smaller school, they'll take on the D1 and D2 teams.
They're 11-0 right now. That's a pretty good start. They are ranked by PBR for all the schools, all the levels of school, number 6 right now.
Right.
Number 1 in their division. So they're going to be tough to beat. They have a ton of experience, guys that have been playing since they were freshmen. He's talked about Boost. They have several players returning. Bauer, they got a lot of similar names back. So they're going to be tough to beat. They were 13-1 last year in the league. I believe they made it to the regional semis or finals, and got knocked off maybe by Milan.
Milan Edison. Yep.
Milan Edison, and so they're going to be tough to handle with any team, any level. It doesn't matter what division you are. So they're going to be a very competitive team in the area. I would say they're one of the better teams in Northwest Ohio. Yeah,
Eastwood has been to the Division III regional semifinals the past 2 seasons, so coming up just short. And I know you get to facing some of the NWOAL teams. It's always nice to see those NBC versus NWOAL teams when you get to that deep into the postseason. Typically, one of those teams rises to the top and advances.
And they were 13-1 last year in the league. Their only loss was against Otsego. It was against Joseph Juro. I was at that game, and Joseph Juro is now the number 1 pitcher for Michigan State University as a freshman. Yeah. So, that was a heck of a baseball game. So, that's quite a task there. It's very tough to go undefeated in the league.
Yeah, and to put a bow on it with Rossford in the Northern Buckeye Conference, new coach there, Phil O'Shea, not there. He is now an assistant with Coach Milcarrick at Central Catholic, so Mark Deals takes over. They were 8-6 in league play last year, 14-12 overall. Brennan Revels, one of the dynamic pitchers, 3.03 ERA for Rossford last season. I know he's been on the mound early going in this season and has come out on top with some key strikeouts and big moments and got a win earlier on a BCSN game broadcast. So, all right, that is breakdown of all the different main leagues in our BCSN footprint as we continue here on the BCSN Nation podcast powered by Marco's Pizza. Let's go to our final segment.
It's time for the BCSN Nation podcast question of the week. Send us your question on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook using the @BCSN Sports and #BCSN Podcast.
All right, we posed this question last week on the softball side to Steve Ronkowitz. We're going to do the same to you, Mark Nell. your picks to win each of the leagues that we just talked about. Let's go from top to bottom. NLL, who you got?
Well, I have to go with Anthony Wayne. They were
Shocker.
I mean, 14 players returning, 14 seniors.
Yep.
Right now they're hitting 338 as a team. They're ranked number 32 in the Division I in PBR. They lost a couple of games down south. I'm sure very good competition. St. John's got them. They're off to a 2-0 start. They beat defending state champions. Northview. There's a lot of guys that are playing now that were playing as sophomores my last year, and they're going to be very solid. And they are deep, and deeper on the mound.
Okay.
So that's going to be the big thing. Now, talking to Coach Donnelly today, they got to make sure they're throwing a little bit more strikes. He threw out some stats to me. I think they've, between hit by pitches and walks, they've put 52 free batters on base so far in 10 games or so. And so that's one area of improvement that they need to do. But they've had some great performances from people.
It's funny when you say that. It's the same thing, no matter what age level you're talking about, high school, college, pros, or where I'm coaching some 11-year-olds travel baseball. Throw strikes. That's exactly it. Justin, I'll give you a suggestion. Tell them that the first pitch of every batter is the most important pitch. Yeah, absolutely. You got to get ahead. 100%. Just throw it over the plate. 100%. All right, let's go to the track now. Clay, the preseason coaches pick. Do you agree with those coaches or disagree, Mark?
I'm 100% agreeing. Okay. And there's going to be competition in all these leagues. Don't get me wrong. You got to come to play. But Clay's, again, they're kind of similar to an Anthony Wayne team. They are extremely deep in pitching. I had a list of about 4 or 5 guys on their pitching staff. And then this Anthony Barnes, I didn't even have him on the list. He comes out and closes this game and strikes out the last 5 guys of the game, and they swing it. They got great history. I want to talk a little bit about their history. This is pretty cool stuff.
Go for it.
I've dug it up. They've had 5 coaches since 1928.
Oh, wow.
Okay. A gentleman named Harold Potter was their head coach from 1928 to 1974. Think about that. Do the math.
That's like Chris Hartman's
Do the math.
Stats. Yeah.
46 years.
Yeah.
630 winning percentage. And Richard Canick from 1975 to 1996, 727 winning percentage. Carl Canarum was always one of my favorites. Carl, 1997 to 2009, 686. Gary Isabel, 2010 to 13, 526 winning percentage. And Jim Phillips, 2014 to present, 603 winning percentage. They have 1,334 wins and 687 losses and 1 tie. But I don't know about that tie. There's no ties in baseball. Come on now. But I just thought that was pretty cool. 5 coaches since 1928.
Yeah. That sounds like the NFL version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 coaches over 50 years.
You're right, but I just think that's an amazing thing. And Jim Phillips, I talked to him a lot about it and got some of his history from him. I knew there was something, but he's very proud of that.
Yeah, I think he has been tasked with digging up all of that type of information, so we appreciate that, Coach Phillips. And where else can you get that? Mark Nell digging deep here on the podcast. I love it. All right, let's move quickly to the TAC. Who you got? Ottawa Hills or TC is my guess.
I got a toss up there. I mean, I guess I know the results of game 1, but Ottawa Hills is going to be tough to knock off. They're the king of the hill right now, but TC has the talent to do it. I'm going to go with Ottawa Hills, because I'm going to have to say that they're going to put Sebastian Stevens on the mound the next time they play, and he's going to be tough for anybody to deal with. So I'll go with Ottawa Hills with TC right behind them.
All right, and the City League. Spartans the obvious choice. They're taking on a Bowser team this week, and they're picked number 2, but like you said, they're approaching 10 straight City League titles.
As I mentioned before, they're the king of the hill. 9 in a row, looking for 10. I know they graduated some guys. They feel like they got some pieces back. Bowser feels like they have some pieces back. I believe they had the Player of the Year last year on their team, so they're going to be competitive. I know Waite wants to, they have a former player coaching, Clifton Lorton, and he's trying to bring back some pride and dedication into that program. And the thing about City League, I know Major League Baseball throughout the country is trying to do some things to create more baseball interest in the inner cities. And I sure hope that brings some back. And I know the Mud Hens are doing things as well. They've reached out to me about some certain things that they'd like to try to do.
All right, and let's finish it up in the Northern Buckeye Conference. Rossford picked third, but we talked to Eastwood, and they look kind of like the clear-cut team, not only in their conference, but across the region and possibly the state.
I can't disagree with that. And again, it's not going to be, Genoa's got a nice club. Genoa ended up 11th last year. Rossford's got some nice pieces. Rossford thinks they're pretty deep on the mound. Lake's got history. Otsego does a great job as well. So, and there's going to be a different look in that league next year with there's Oak Harbor coming in. You
got teams going in and out of the
and Maumee.
Yep,
and Maumee going in.
Yep,
I think that's going to be
leaving.
great. Yep. Woodmore, Elmwood leaving. So I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Gotcha. To give you a sense of baseball programming on BCSN the next few days, Mark will be on the call for the Start Bowsher game at Byrne Park. That'll be Wednesday at 5 o'clock. All these games on the BCSN Now app and on TV tape delay. We also have Northwood at Toledo Christian on Thursday. Friday, we got Findlay at St. Francis. Saturday, we got 3 games, all at 11 a.m., Rossford at Bedford, Lima Senior at Rogers, Bowsher at Southview. So be on the lookout for that. Fast forward to next week on Monday, April 24th. Clay at St. John's could be an important game in the track standings there. And then Perrysburg at Bowling Green, 2 teams vying for the title in the Northern Lakes League. So we are off and running here in the spring sports edition of the BCSN Nation podcast. Mark, Nell, thanks for joining me. I'm Justin Feldkamp. Each and every week, the BCSN Nation podcast drops powered by Marco's Pizza Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. We will see you next week.